Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another yet episode of Carry On Harry. This is, of course, your host and the normal getter for the first time. Again, Harry Malhotra. And I have aspiring artists with me, the Bilz and Kashif. That's the Bilz Kashif. Thank you so much for joining me today on my show.
What's up, man?
So tell me about yourself. You guys are from Canada.
That's right.
And how did you guys come together? How did this whole thing happen?
Well, basically, it used to be me and Master D. We used to work a lot on producing a lot of artists locally and internationally. And Kashif, he was part of a boy band group based in Quebec, Montreal, locally. They had a lot of big charts all across the radio, 3 top charts. And after that, his contract was done, and he wanted to work with us. I mean, I knew him from high school.
Okay.
And then we linked up, and then we signed him on a production deal, and we work together now.
And how did you join?
Well, same thing, same way. We got together first, and then we met Kashif through him because it was his high school friend.
Yeah.
And
well, I used to DJ more. He used to produce, and then we thought we'd combine our skills together because it'd make it much more of an impact in the industry.
And have you learned music? You produce. That's a pretty massive job. I'll come to you, Kashif. That's a pretty massive job, man. I mean, producing, because producing a show over here is a hassle. When we talk about music, going to the studio, getting the music ready, and all that. How does that happen?
Well, I used to. I'm classically trained. I mean, my mother was a semi-classical singer, so I've learned music from her side mainly. And after that, you start learning harmonium first, right? So you start everything from harmonium. So from harmonium, I learned the tabla. So I'm usually a tabla player as a percussionist. And from there on, I went for the keyboards, and then you teach yourself, basically. And then,
so you know how to sing as well?
Yes.
You started from Saregama Padhanisa, which is
main.
Wow.
Basic.
So, I mean, if he makes mistake, you're like, hey.
Yeah.
No, if I make mistakes.
So how was the whole transition? Being in Canada, what were the problems? What about you, Kashif? Hold on, I'll come back to you. What was the whole thing like? How did you get into singing? I know you were in a boy band, but how did that whole process
Well,
start?
actually, you know what? It was just me being interested. I used to watch TV and listen to the radio, and then my sister used to do little dances, and actually my sister would be doing little dances with his sister, and that's how we got to know each other anyway. So just watching it and just emulating it, and then just liking it and being passionate about it. I just started singing, started doing talent shows at school, and next thing you know, people were like, yo, why don't you just take it seriously and stuff. And one thing led to another. Started writing songs, started performing talent shows, and people talk and stuff, and then
Did you go to a school? Did you learn?
No. I've never taken any vocal lessons, never any dance lessons. Everything is self-taught. I really believe in natural talent as well. I find there's a certain thing of a gift some people have and stuff, and I basically developed myself, and
Now there's one thing I gotta ask you guys. Kashif, naturally Canada has more of a Punjabi base, if I'm right. There are so many artists these days. There's Raghav, there's Jassi, there's so many, DCS, RDB. Where do you guys fit in? Was there any thought process? Because usually we get it from our families. Oh, chhadi yaar, enne sare hai, what are you guys doing, this and that. Did that ever happen? Was there ever a fear ke, oh my God, hoga, nahi hoga, will this...
We didn't really think of, when we do music, we don't really think of those type of things. We do respect them as artists because they have paved a lot of path for many new aspiring artists. But we have our own vision, and you might get some people who might compare it, but the difference between us is we bring in the real North American flavor because we grew up, we listened to that music. I used to be a DJ, and I knew what the crowd really wanted. And he had amazing skills and classical background, so fusing it together, we bought some really good material. And then when we signed Kashif, he's got amazing songwriting skills. So we just brought, our main focus and main goal was bring real North American style of music, but in the same time representing a South Asian culture. Thing with the UK and stuff, they're more UK pop, but we consider ourselves more North American urban music. So far, we're making a lot of moves, and people respect us as the Bilz and Kashif. So, we have.
He said you write songs.
Yeah.
Where do you get the inspiration from? I ask this to every artist.
Yeah, well, actually, inspiration, I think it's just, I make up these situations in my head, or I talk to people, and I like talking to people, what's going on in your life, and just listening to stories, and, again, with the whole thing of fear, I don't think we ever were afraid of anything. I think it's more than anything, we're excited, because, I think I love working with them, he's classically trained. He's an amazing musician.
Is it because he's in front of you? That's what you're saying.
No, really. I think that's another thing that's really cool about us is that we have chemistry and we respect each other. You know, like we really, you know, it's
Does
really
it
cool.
ever happen? Like you walk up to them, you're like, "Oh yeah, I wrote this song. I want to make it," and they're like, "I'm not feeling this or change this." Does that ever happen?
It's rare though.
It's rare though.
rare?
Very
It could
rare.
happen.
It could happen. Yeah.
It's not, sometimes, you know, like they would be doing a track and then I'd come in like, it doesn't sound too good. And we reason it out with ourselves. Why do you think it doesn't sound good?
Yeah.
Where we could change it? And that's where the chemistry comes in. It's very important because you got to be able to take criticism and you got to be able to move forward to make hits. And like our biggest motto, all three of us, is if it doesn't sound right in the beginning, we
Throw it.
We trash it.
Now I really like this song, "Oh Meri Rani."
Yeah.
Tell me, how did you get inspired? Did you write the song?
Yes, I did.
Who's Rani in here?
I'm actually, you know what? I'm looking for my Rani. So if she's out there somewhere.
Yes, please.
And if
please.
you know,
Absolutely, please call him. Now, but seriously,
Or you can call ITV and they can maybe call
now,
me.
but tell me, how did this whole thing come? 'Cause it sounds very cool, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna play a few songs. I'm gonna put in audio tracks in the middle of the show as well, and we're gonna show one of their very hardest, cool-looking video. But what was the inspiration when you were writing "Oh Meri Rani"?
Well, actually, it's just like a story of somebody just going to a club and just looking at it. I think it's happened to everybody. You know, you go to a club, you see a beautiful girl, and you're like, wow. You know, that girl, I want her to be mine, you know? And basically, that's what it is. It's very simple. The story is very simple. You see a girl and you really want her. You see her in the club and, you know, you
Trying
want
to
that
find
girl.
the best one.
Yeah.
It's the best match, man.
I know, it happens to me every Saturday night. It happens to me every Saturday night. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. That's another story. Well, we'll get back to that. Tell me something. So much competition. Where, just like you said, you have a vision. Where do you want to see yourself in like a year or 2 years?
One thing good about we all have the same vision, but our main vision is to make sure that we bring the South Asian artists, like music-wise, into a mainstream level. And we have succeeded so far doing a lot of that stuff in Canada. You know, we had a really tough time trying to get our first single, Two-Step Bhangra, but you know what? We got on mainstream radio. That's like actual...
When you say you had difficulty getting that,
Well, because-
what were the difficulties you faced?
One, because you're a South Asian artist. You know, they don't really believe in that type of music. They thought it was a phase that, you know, happened a long time in hip-hop music. But, you know, if you know how to do the music right and if you know how to fuse it right and make sure it appeals to, you know, a mainstream audience, then, you know, you're doing something right. And we got the call from the radio station, listen, hey, we love the song. We're going to put it on rotation. One station led to all across Canada. And now we signed that Two-Step Bhangra to MTV Canada. They're going to use it as a commercial for a year. So, you know, we constantly build our repertoire and we just keep on growing and growing. And that's our main vision.
As a producer, what kind of music do you want to produce? You know, it's like I direct shows, there's my producers, same way it goes to the music. What do you think about it? Do you like, or it's just like it comes to you?
Well, for me, it's just... It's something
What
that
kind of
comes to
music
me.
would you like to produce? Tell me that.
Well, personally or...
Personally, yes. Personally first.
Well, I do, basically, personally I do all kind of music. I call it myself the bhajan, booty to bhajan producer, because I've done bhajan albums, I've done classical to reggae,
R&B,
world,
Bhangra.
R&B, Bhangra, call it, you know, everything, I've done it. You know, but mainly, for myself, I see the future as world music, I find, and this is something we're thinking of doing
Definitely,
in the future.
And he has some tracks right now which are just amazing.